I hate people that complain about, oh, they're selling a $20,000 course. Yeah, but it'll make you 200,000 a year if you'll just shut up. You'll go take out $100,000 loan for a college degree in, freaking, European studies, but you won't invest in these trainings. And like, it's so funny when you see the people that succeed. Like, I've always been that kind of person too. Like, when I go pay $25,000 to learn something, I'm making 100 or dying when I come back. Like, in these seminars and these live events and these courses and these coaching, like, everyone wants to complain about them, except for the people that become the testimonials, because they're the ones that actually go do it. And that fire that gets lit under you when you invest something like I've spent like $250,000 on coaching, like in the past, 12 years or whatever I've been doing this entrepreneur stuff. But even before that, one thing that I used to love to do was go to football clinics when I was a football coach. And all these other coaches would just go to drink beer at the bar and hang out. I was going to every session. I was buying everybody's $30 defensive back drills DVD, and I would go home and watch them over and over and over again. Because when I first started coaching, dude, I was 0-10 my first year as a head coach. I got running clocked 8 games in a row. I felt like the worst coach on the planet Earth. And a lot of people would just say, well, I'm going to quit, or I'm going to do something else, or maybe coaching's not for me. But I was like, no, I know I'm good at this. I just have to figure out how to get better at it. Right. I know I want to do this. I have a passion for it. So I have to get better. So everybody else is all like spending their money on beer and, wings. And I'm over here buying, some random coach's VHS tape to try to learn how a nose guard's supposed to slant,
but listen, you definitely just dated yourself.
Yeah, man. And like but you know what? The last year I coached, we turned a program completely around. First time they'd ever had a winning season in 20 years. We were 8-2. We made the playoffs for the first time in school history. But I used every dime that I paid for. And that's really what you got to do with this stuff, man. If you're going to invest in something like a coaching program or a seminar or anything like that, I love hearing stories of people who went to a seminar, paid the money, and used it to actually get their goal. It's almost like this stuff works, people, if you just put the effort in.
And here's the crazy thing. So what I bought was these 4 coaching days or weekends or whatever. So I went to the first one and I realized the program I bought was absolute garbage. So I didn't even finish the program. And so a lot of people are like, well, Tom, so that was a waste of money, right? That was a stupid decision. And I was like,
Nope.
No, because I realized that I already had what I needed. This program wasn't going to do anything for me, but what it did was it lit that fire.
It was a decision.
Just go and do it. Correct.
Yep.
So people look at it like this interesting coach that I had years ago. He kicked off his program and he said, I'm going to give you my bio. And it was all the highlights and all the stuff we all see. And then he goes, let me share my anti-bio with you. And it's all the stuff that we normally suck away. And I took that idea because I went back to my anti-bio and I listed out all the reasons I should have failed or all the mistakes I made. And I can point to every single one of those and show how that led to my success. So it's so much of this is just how you're viewing a situation and what you decide to do with it.
I've bought some really bad courses and I've went to some really bad live events. You know what I'm saying? I've definitely quote unquote, oh, I wasted my money. They took my money. No, that's not true. Because, if I bought this one course one time, it's really early on. It was about webinars, right? It's like $1,000, which was probably the biggest course I'd bought at the time, but nobody knew what webinars were in 2012. You had to buy a course. You did no choice, right? These were new things. And I remember watching that course, and at first I was like, this is stupid. This is dumb. And then I had this mindset shift. I was like, well, wait a minute. This doesn't feel worth $1,000. But what if I find something that I know I will extract $1,000 out of what I just paid? There's something in here that I don't know, right? And one of the things I learned from that video, which I still teach today when I train speakers, was this guy had this part of his webinar. Everything else was just cookie cutter nonsense, stupid stuff. But this one thing, he called it permissions. I'll never forget him going back. I went back through the training to dig for gold, right? And he said something really interesting. He was like, you have to ask permission to the audience for everything you do. And like, I was like, really? What are you talking about? And it was like permission for the sale. You can't just like drop a sales pitch at the end. That's bait and switch. You got to ask that, you have to give them permission to listen. You have to ask for permission to even be the speaker. Like you're just a person to them. Like you can't just say, "Hi, I'm Shane Sams. I know everything." No, you have to say, "Hey guys, I'm Shane Sams. Would it be okay if I shared my experience with you and taught you something?" And they have to, and you have to learn how to get that permission. So I took that one throwaway line this guy had in his thing. It was probably 1 minute of the whole course. And I evolved that out into like now, whether I'm building a 16-hour seminar, a 45-minute keynote, or even my own webinars or my own things, I spend about an hour on permissions. Like, how am I going to get this? How am I going to give them permission to like me? How am I going to get their permission to sell them something? How am I going to do this at the beginning? And I swear that's made me millions. That's made me, I extracted, I will get my pound of flesh out of everything I invest in, dude, one way or the other. And I think if more people would think like that, like I hate people that buy coaching programs and then they don't do it and they blame the coach, or they do what they say, but it's half-hearted, or they don't like the personality of the coach they got assigned, or whatever their excuse is to like hold them back, instead of saying, wow, I have this opportunity to engage with another person and learn something that could make me a lot of money. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, and that's what, we were talking about Marcus Aurelius and Stoicism. Like that was the big thing that I really stuck out to me was like, okay, there's things I can control and there's things I can't control. Right.
Yeah.
And it's like things are going to happen. Like maybe I'm going to make a decision where it's not the best program or whatever else. So I can choose to be that victim and to like, woe me.
Yeah.
Or just like you did, it's like, well, I can choose to make this valuable. Let me go find that value. Right.
Yeah.
And whichever story you tell yourself in whichever way you go, like that's what's going to show up for you.
That's what's going to happen. Yeah. It's not necessarily the course, the training, the live events you attend, the coaching program you hire, whatever it is. It's that decision that you're going to do something about your life, right? I hired a coach one time for a year. It was like 30 grand. I never even asked him a question. I just wanted 30 grand on the table to show up every week and someone be like, I have to be here. And I needed some accountability in my life at that point, right? I just needed to know that I spent 30 grand. I needed to show up. And that anchor place every week on the year of coaching that I did with this coach, like he never told me anything magic, never did anything, but like I always started my week with, okay, there's my $30,000 coach. Shit, I need to work on this. I need to go build my podcast. I need to go build my community. I need to go do these. I need to write this book. I need to do these other things